To have you with us from across the country on this Tuesday. I'm Todd Vanderhayden. An RCMP officer in Alberta has been arrested and charged for allegedly accessing police records to help out a foreign actor. The arrest of this constable was made on Saturday. These are the details we're getting, and we don't have a lot, but the charges: breach of trust is 1. Unauthorized use of a computer is 2. Breach of trust in respect to safeguarded information is 3. We don't know what kind of information may have been shared. We also do not know what country that foreign operative is from. The RCMP obviously taking this very seriously. They say they've put measures in place now to mitigate any further sharing of information. The next development on this case will be March the 11th, when that RCMP officer will be appearing in a provincial court in Calgary to face these charges. Let's bring in CTV News public safety analyst Chris Lewis, who's standing by. He was the former commissioner of the Ontario Provincial Police Force with a long career in law enforcement in our country. Chris, your initial thoughts on this arrest and what it means here?
Well, it's kind of disappointing to hear yet another member of the RCMP leaking information of some sort, not on the grandiose scale that their director of the criminal intelligence area was charged, of course, and convicted recently in Ottawa, which was huge. This on a lower level. It's real difficult to tell what information was given out. I noticed that there wasn't charges under the Foreign Secrets Act, so it's probably lower level occurrence information or stuff within the Canadian Police Information Center, CPIC, that may indicate where people live, or background information on certain people in terms of their criminal records and other identifying things. So we'll know that at some point, but breach of trust isn't a national security charge per se. It's more around really violating the trust by which someone has been sworn to not do. So it's kind of interesting to see where this will go from here.
Can you help us navigate some of the terminology? When we hear a foreign actor, what does that mean?
Really, a foreign actor is someone who really targets Canadians, harass, intimidate, try and coerce them to further the interests of a foreign country. We might have talked, you and I, Todd, about the so-called Chinese police stations that were popping up across Canada, which really were no more police stations than the man in the moon. It was all about gathering intelligence, monitoring the activities of Chinese nationals that are living in Canada, and trying to get them to cooperate somehow with the Chinese government. Is this related to that? I don't know about. When I hear foreign national or foreign, actor, right away my mind goes to that.
Yeah, so China, possibly India, maybe Russia, maybe Iran. I mean, there are a number of countries out there that we know have and continue to target Canada. The kind of information that an RCMP officer might have access to, Chris, and I appreciate you're kind of extrapolating a little bit here, but you sort of said lower level. What would we be talking about?
Well, it wouldn't be an officer that had access to national security information, major undercover or intelligence gathering operations, things of the nature that civilian director was charged with some time back. So this would be more what a uniformed or detective officer would have access to as far as databases that have occurrence information, identifying information about people, criminal records, dates of birth, address history, driver's license information, some of that stuff that might help somebody find someone or identify someone that they're interested in talking to, which would kind of also go towards the foreign actor type of individual that may be trying to find people to intimidate them, whether it be a Chinese national, etc. And trying to get that information at times isn't easy unless you have access to police databases.
So you were the commissioner of the Ontario Provincial Police Force, and I'm curious what kind of monitoring or oversight goes on for officers. In other words, how do you catch somebody who may be doing something like this, Chris? What are the systems or processes in place for that kind of thing?
Great question, because in the OPP, for example, there's 6,000 officers and a lot of civilians as well that have access to that. And generally speaking, you've done the background checks, you're monitoring their behavior by way of complaints or information that might come up. Other than that, you're not watching a whole pile of officers to see who they're running CPIC checks on or who they're looking up in occurrence information. So when the RCMP say they put measures in place, I really don't know how you do that. They must have been tipped off by someone or through some investigation got information that made them target this specific officer and then do a search to find out what in fact he touched. But prior to that, it's pretty tough to know what they're touching unless something comes to light that has you delve further into their activities online.
Yeah, the RCMP saying, quote, taking it seriously, I'm just reading this, have taken measures to mitigate any future sharing of information. We can obviously appreciate that the police force is, to a certain extent in damage control mode. This is not good, obviously, for them and their reputation. You touched on it in the very beginning of our chat, Chris, where you said, another piece of bad news for the RCMP. They've had a number of these cases.
They have, and it really hurts the reputation of our national police force. And I know they're isolated incidents, but even one is too many. And when you're trying to build trust as a police department, among the people you serve, but among other countries who view the RCMP as a trusted source of intelligence information and someone that will guard their intelligence information, things like that throw a wrench into it all. And it casts a shadow that the RCMP don't need or want at any time, let alone right now.
All right, we'll be tracking this story, and the next appearance for this officer is going to be in a provincial court coming up on March the 11th. Thanks for this, Chris, in the meantime.
Thank you, Todd.
CTV Public Safety Analyst Chris Lewis.